So the male doesn't come from the woman; it comes from a different entity.
So let's understand the beings that created these vessels and that created the Y chromosome were a feminine being. And when we look, so okay, go back to the Bible. The original gods in the Bible, there were many, by the way. Just so somebody, it's only one God. There were many gods in the Bible. Notice they said, "Let us create man in our image." Okay, there were many of them. And when you go and read any of the left out books, you're gonna find that they had names. So what happened is somebody removed the names of the God beings. Most of them were feminine, and replaced them with God or Lord. If you look at up Elohim, Elohim means many gods. El means God. Elohim, many gods. Okay, so just in understanding that, a feminine being created the male. All right, and so the thing that happened is that this, in creating this chromosome, again, they were creating a slave being. That was the purpose of it, to create a slave being. So let me make sure. I want to refresh, because I had to go into some preface stuff so that we understand where I'm ready to go. Restate your question for me so I can make sure I answer it properly.
The question. Oh, I was asking, was the male coming from a female, a woman? Does a male come from a woman, or is a male created from a different entity?
No, he comes. The male is a female. Inside out female. That's what he is. Let's understand, he is created in the image of the woman. The male is created in the image of the woman. Okay, what you talking about, Diva? Okay, your breast, the male's breast. They are non-functioning breasts, as what the image of the woman. What is his? He has a womb. His womb is non-functioning. It's called a prostate. His ovaries. He got ovaries. They're called scrotum. He got a vagina. It's called a penis. That little Darth Vader looking thing, that is a clitoris. I'm saying to you, my brother is my sister. And the deal is that Y chromosome is a derivative of the X. It is derived from the X. So when I'm talking about this, what I'm saying is you got to recognize that he comes from the feminine. All males were originally girls. Until, yeah, and by the way, I need to say this, and this is going to really upset some people in the comment section too. Don't knee jerk on this information. Go look it up. There is no such thing as a male sperm. There is no such thing. They're all female sperm, all of them. And it better be a female sperm or he's going to be fertile, because yeah, a Y chromosome is not the same as an X, and there's going to be a being, Mother Nature, I'm going to say Mother Nature, just like that, because I can only say so much. But there's going to be a being that's going to stop that union. If he's coming in with an X sperm, a sperm with an X in it, it does not match with this Y. There's going to be a being that stops that. It's not going to happen. He better have female sperm or he's going to be fertile, because he's not going to be able to penetrate her.
So I have women in my life. Is there anything that I can do to help the women that I know close and people on the periphery? Is there anything I can do to help them be the fifth dimensional woman? What is it that a guy can do?
Oh, to help them be. Well, you can share the information, but I thought you were going to just say that to help be an honor. Look, this is the big thing that I say to males. If you want to help, just be an honor. Do what you say you're going to do, and only say what you're going to do. Because the problem here is that women have these expectations on men. And you ever notice, like, if somebody disappoints you, it has everything to do with an expectation, some contract that you made up in your mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about the times when you were angry with somebody. It had to do with an expectation. You expected them to do something different, and it had to do with a contract. The thing that males can do is not allow somebody to put them in a contract that they know goes against their nature. That's the first thing.
What do you mean by that?
When men meet a woman, they are presenting what we call their representative. All right. And I get it. You can't just go up to a woman and say, hey, I just want to hit it and quit it. You can't just say that. You got to give it time and listen to all the stuff she's saying over at dinner or whatever. But what happens is she's going to give you a contract. She's going to say to you, well, look, you got to marry me and be with me and only me for the rest of life. And then you enter this contract knowing full well that you was just looking at somebody else while y'all was eating dinner. You're not, you trying to enter this contract and you're not being honest because it's going against your nature. That's what I'm saying. If you know it goes against your nature, then don't let somebody put you in the contract.
So the male can only be accountable for the contracts he makes, or is the male supposed to be accountable based on nature?
All of us have to be accountable.
Okay.
All of us have to be accountable. But I'm not understanding why you asked that. Yes, he's got to be accountable for his contracts because he's contracting too. When he says, okay, baby, yeah, I marry you. And then he goes off and does something that he knows is not in honor with the contract that he made with her. But if he had never entered that contract in the first place, that's another story.
Okay. So the way that someone like myself would assist in the path for women that want to go to the fifth dimension would be honor, would be holding on to the contract, honoring the contract, right? What else? What would it be?
Yeah, I mean,
for me?
If you say you're going to do something, make sure you do it. Mm-hmm. And if you know you can't do it, don't enter the contract. Period. Now, other than that, giving information, making sure you're studied up. One of the things that I find is that my brothers, they tend to know this information that I'm giving. Now, they're not going to always tell women, and they're not going to always agree with it because it goes against the ego and the flesh. I get it. But more men are aware of this information that I'm giving you than women. Make sure she knows. Here's the deal. Let me just say this, because this is why I have the Fifth Dimensional Woman Tour. And this is not a diss to my brothers at all. This is not a diss. But remember what the vessel is. That vessel has taken over the woman. You have subjugated the female. It's just like you don't expect a slave master to help you uplift yourself. Somebody who's oppressing you, you don't expect them to help you uplift yourself and become equal to them. That's not how that works. It's just like asking the government, hey, government, give us everything we need so we don't have to deal with you anymore. That's not going to happen. They exist for a reason, and they are oppressing the people. That's part of the people's fault. I'm not going into that. But they are oppressing the people. But in order to uplift yourself, you can't expect them to tell you how to do it. You have to be willing to study for yourself and learn. So as a brother, yes, point the women to the right direction. Help them know what's what. But I don't expect you to be able to tell a woman everything she needs to know about who she is. Do you expect an Albion to come in and tell you everything who you are with respect to your history? No, they're not going to do it. Even the most, let me tell you something. I don't have no issue with Albions. And I was studying some things about the Bible. I was listening to these Albions. All of them talk about the Bible, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible. Why did none of them ever say that all the people the Bible is talking about are melanated people? Why none of them Albions ever told that? And they are well-meaning, loving people, so we think. But they never came out and said, this Bible is all about melanated people. Why they never said that? Why they had everybody thinking that it was all about the Albion? Okay, I'm not saying that they had any intention of keeping you ignorant, but the bottom line is they're not going to tell you everything about who you are as a melanated person. A man is not going to tell you everything about who you are as a woman, just like a government is not going to tell you how to uplift and free yourself from their clutches. If you want to know it, you better be willing to study.
So the tour you have coming up, tell us about that. What you got popping?
Original Woman Tour. All right, that is going to be, we're going to be on the 24th of August in Chicago. We have New York as well. That's coming up, as well as Atlanta. I want y'all to get your tickets. You can find that link in Ken's bio. And so, yeah, the Fifth Dimensional Woman Tour. Basically, once again, my goal is just to give women information that has been hidden. I get it. This information is 180 degrees opposite of what we have been taught in this society. But please know, this society is 180 degrees opposite from what nature is. And so if you're really trying to get back to nature and right this wrong ship, then you got to be willing to do some studying. Be willing to go and just research who he is. Take some time to back up before you just jump into bed with him, because when you're doing these things, you got to understand he has a nature. His nature has told him what he needs to do in this dimension, and that is to plant seed. What kind of seed is being planted in you? Because that's going to determine what kind of being you bring into this dimension. And again, I say it's all about the woman coming into order, because there can't be a baby daddy unless she says, yes, everything coming in this dimension is coming in it through her. She got to clean up. So we got to give the women this information that has been hidden, in efforts that they, take the information and use it to uplift themselves, gain peace and love and happiness.
So there's a young lady listening out there, and she's just starting her path, and she hears the term fifth dimensional woman. Where does she start at?
Yeah. First thing is start with self. Understanding who you are. And then why you're trying to contract. Because the next thing is to come up out of the lies that we have been taught. Be willing to come up out of the lies that we have been taught. And that is not easy. Because a woman will say, oh yeah, I want to get back to nature, but she's still holding on to this unnatural paradigm over here. You can't get back to nature if you're over here holding on to this. She got to be willing to come out of the lies. All right. This is not a walk where I can just tell you in 3 minutes, okay, do this, this, and this. No, there's things. And so in the Fifth Dimensional Woman Tour, we're going to have some information. We're going to have that diary where you can get that and then be able to use it to guide you in what you're doing in life. All right. So we're going to have some takeaways. from the tour about what needs to be done, what you need to do. But the bottom line, everything, and I mean everything starts with self, coming into knowledge of self. When you get that and being willing to be accountable, being willing to overcome the lies that we have been taught, then you're going to rise automatically.
So real quick though, so I'm all about like intention. So when people go to sleep tonight, so women specifically, a couple things you mentioned was spiritual baggage. And as women are going to their beds tonight, in the sleep realm or the astral world, is there a way for women to address the spiritual baggage you mentioned as they're sleeping? How should they transition into going into the sleep state?
When we're talking about clearing up spiritual baggage, it can start as simple as, and for me, whatever God you pray to, universe, spirits, God, if there are any people who I have harmed in another time, I ask to be forgiven. Remember that prayer, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Why is that prayer so powerful? Well, that's the beginning, when you're asking for forgiveness and then you're willing to forgive. I ask for forgiveness for anyone whom I have harmed in the past, and I forgive those who have harmed me. That's the beginning.
Ms. Diva, I want to ask this question right here. A woman tapping into her fifth dimensional reality or awakening, does it have anything to do with her sexuality?
Um, so let's understand what sex is. Now, this is a lower vibratory uh, activity. All right, it's dealing with the flesh, and a lot of people confuse it with love. So, when it comes to sex, period, woman that's cleaning up herself, she's going to. You got to understand, when you're having sex with someone, sexual intercourse, you're putting spiritual energies or entities within your body. All right. She's going to want to stay away from that unless she knows who this is. So I'm not telling you about what her sexuality is or who she's going to sex, whether it be male or female. If she's going to do that, she's going to back off and make sure that whomever she's contracting with, she knows who they are. She knows that they're in touch with their spiritual side, because she knows that if their DNA gets in her, that's a spiritual entity within her. So as far as whether or not she's going to be with a male or a female, that's up to her. But I'm saying to you, if she chooses to go that route, she's going to be very selective with whomever it is that she chooses to engage with in that way.
Miss D, I want you to give a closeout message talking to whoever you want to that's hearing your voice, of just some words about coming out of a low vibration and coming into the higher dimensions and unlocking their power. What do you say in closing?
All right, in closing, when we're talking about unlocking our power and coming into a new dimension, we're dealing with discipline. Discipline. Are you disciplined enough to be willing to structure the activities, who you're sexing, what you're eating, what you're listening to, what you're doing every day, how you're treating other people? Discipline. And I'm not saying it's easy, but you got to be disciplined enough to be willing to be cognizant of the energies that you're putting out. All right. So whether it's sex or whether it's eating food, whether it's what you're doing, how you're treating people, those are things that are going to help us to create our heaven on earth. Because you got to understand, whenever you do something, you're creating energies that show up in your third dimension. And so, what you're going to do is start to recognize that, oh, I'm the one who's creating this third dimension. Well, how about I create it to be what I want it to be? How about I create it to be the heaven I want it to be? Well, you can do that by making sure your energies are in order, and that's where we're talking about that fifth dimension. And then we go into the vibratory frequency after that. Then we go into your thoughts and your beliefs after that. All of that helps you to control what you're seeing in your third dimension. All right?
Wait,
Y'all come to
and
the tour.
oh, I'm sorry. What you say?
I said, y'all come to the tour. We're going to be in Chicago on the 24th of August. All right, Chicago. You can find the link. All right, go ahead, Ken. I
Oh,
apologize.
it's something I do with all my guests. Anytime I interview or chop it up with somebody, I'm gonna throw some words at you, and you just do word association. You tell me the first thing that comes to mind when I throw the word at you. You ready?
Nope, but go ahead.
The future,
Beautiful.
women,
Peaceful.
women,
Power.
men,
Men. I apologize for the long delay. But
so
when I think about men, respect,
money.
energy, and a tool. I'm sorry, you said one word. Go ahead.
It's all good. This is multiple words, but knowledge of self
Power. Power.
and lastly, the UNA University.
Education. Necessary education.
Ms. D, I appreciate you coming here to Coin Gang and blessing us with your information.
Thank you. What
If,
happened to the question and answer? I thought you were going to do some.
oh, I'm on a
Okay.
time crunch right now. I got to make some moves. It's still early over here, but for
Hold on
anybody,
a
oh
second.
shoot,
Angela on her grind. Thank you so much. I love you too, sis. All right, go ahead.
okay, so anybody that wants to follow up with you, where can they find you at?
You can find me on TikTok, UNARepublic. All right. UNARepublic on TikTok. You can find us on UNARepublic uh, on YouTube. Okay.
All right, Ms. D, I appreciate you coming to Coin Gang. Thanks everybody for coming. Y'all have a great night.
All right. Thank you.